are finishing up the Sephora savings event extravaganza that I ended up doing this year with a speed reviews of the 19 products that I purchased for myself for the Sephora savings event. I got them all right at the beginning, so I've been testing them all week and then some. So now I'm going to give you my final thoughts and roundup just hours before the end of the sale in case you're making any last minute purchases. Now, I remember I told you guys I did have a third order in my cart that I didn't actually press order on, and I was going to, and it was filled with a lot of refills, like there was a NARS foundation, Pat McGrath stuff, and then I actually did not end up ordering it because I said pause. I've done my Sephora order. We're going to wait and see what we can get with Black Friday, especially with those Pat McGrath stuff. So I came to my senses. There's some stuff that I'm waiting for Black Friday to pick up. So that leaves me with these 19 products that I've been testing and I'm ready to give you my final thoughts on. Now, of course, these are a little bit fast forwarded more than usual. Normally I take a little bit more time, but I feel I've got a good grasp on how I feel about the products that I picked up. So as always, I'll have them linked down below. Let's get into it. So the first thing that I purchased that I'm talking about today, this was like number one on my list to get, is the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Natural Finish Foundation. And I like this foundation. However, I prefer the other foundation that he has. I think this is a bit more appropriate for more oily skin types. The other one is better, I think, for more dry skin types, which I have. So due to that, I definitely have to prep my base, but this is still a gorgeous foundation. It is very blurring on the skin. It's like a soft matte finish. It gives about a medium coverage. I will say if I apply too heavy of a layer, it has a tendency to look a little dry and cakey on me. Nothing terrible. It tends to look better throughout the day, but less is more if you have dry skin when it comes to this foundation. So for today, I do have that lighter layer, and I do feel like my skin looks very, very perfected, smooth, and airbrushed, but it is like erring on the side of dry. Have to make sure I prep my skin. So I think that this is a beautifully performing foundation, though I do think some people might find it a bit drying and you must prep accordingly. But overall, I really like it, and I think it's a great event long wear foundation, and it is extremely blurring on the skin. I also have been testing the LYS No Name Concealer. This is the Bright Start Creamy Buildable Coverage Airbrush Concealer. Now, I picked this up in the shade LN3. I can tell you right off the bat, I don't love the packaging of this. I find it very hard to control exactly how much product you're getting here. And then also just sponges in general, I hate when they harden, they get gross easily. So the packaging is a no for me, but the formula is pretty good. It's a very thin foundation. I think or concealer, excuse me, and it gives a lighter side of medium coverage for a concealer, and it feels very lightweight on the under eyes. I will give it that, but it can lean a little dry looking. Now, it doesn't look too dry, and it also has pretty good wear time, so I do like this concealer, but it is not a perfect concealer, between it having a tendency to look a little bit dry and also me not liking the packaging. This is a good concealer, but it's not an all-time favorite. In fact, I really think I like their original concealer better, but it's a good product. It's a good quality concealer. However, with the packaging alone, there are so many other concealers that I probably would recommend over this one. This one was such a hit. I'm so happy I picked this up from Haus Labs. It's their Precision Sculpt Shaping Balm Contouring Stick. I have mine in the shade Sculpt. This is the perfect, really amazing contour stick. It is quite cool tone, so do keep that in mind, but it blends out very easily, but it holds its pigment so it doesn't over blend, which I think some people might struggle with, but in my case I really love it because where I place it, it's gonna leave that shadow right there without over blending and disappearing. You can apply it straight to the face. It's a little bit harder to blend, but it's totally possible. But you can also do, I demoed both, take the brush, put it right on the product, and then tap it into the face. Beautiful around the lips, beautiful down the nose. Very nice formula, pretty easy to blend, but it keeps its pigment, which I really appreciate because a lot of products, excuse me, that was so rude of me. A lot of products nowadays, even though we love when they blend easily, you have to be careful of the ones that over blend. So this one is really great because it almost sets down. So really love this. I get the hype of it. I am glad I picked it up. This one, not a new review. It's just something that I repurchased during the Sephora sale to get it while I could. It's a good time to stock up on your stuff. The Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Setting Powder in Pound Cake. It's the best, most blurring powder on the market. I don't think I have to say too much about this. I've said so much about it already. I just needed a re-up, and I regret nothing. It still is one of the best powders out there on the market. If you ask me, it is the best one out there on the market. First holiday set that I'm talking about that I picked up is the NARS Mini Multiple Set. I picked this up because I was curious about this formula in general that they had just recently reformulated. So why not get a little bit of a better deal and buy the value set? Now in this, you are getting the shades Dolce Vita, Fling, and Orgasm Crave. I really like the packaging on these. I think this is a great quality in terms of packaging. Little set here. It doesn't feel too flimsy. It's not magnetic. I like Dolce Vita and Fling. Unfortunately, Orgasm Crave has made me kind of regret this kit because this looked really patchy and broke up my foundation underneath. And I do find that that happens sometimes with the Orgasm shade. The glitters or something disagree with my base. So the other two flat shades are fine. However, I can't recommend this kit because it's not perfect. I don't like this Orgasm shade at all, which is just so funny because that's their signature shade. So a little disappointed in that. I also managed to pick up both of the Patrick Ta holiday sets. I really just could not help myself. So there's two different sets. They include two limited edition new colors. So the first one is the Ice Me Down set. So this one is going to be for lighter complexions. So in it, you're getting the cream and powder blush duo. Really, really gorgeous color. And then you're also getting the Ice Me Down lip gloss, which is not plumping, but it's very, very shiny, very glittery, pretty sheer, but very, very pretty. And then the deeper shade, which I'm wearing today, I know it kind of clashes with the rest of my makeup, but it is really pretty on a lighter skin tone like myself for that really blushy, flushy look, but it also is going to be really beautiful on deeper complexions. So this is the Warm Me Up set. So we have the On Holiday blush, which be careful because mine did not come glued, but it looks a little intimidating, this berry color for someone with my complexion. But with a light hand today, I did use this on my cheeks, and I mean, it's bright, it's bold. I wouldn't wear it with this eye look normally. It's just because, you know, I want to be able to demo stuff for you, so I put it on if it doesn't match. But this is a really pretty holiday cheek with a more simple eye. And then the lip gloss that it comes with has pretty chunky glitters here. It has like a slight berry tint to it. So comparing the two lip glosses, these pull pretty similar on the lips because they're very sheer. They do have a very pretty glossy glow on the lips, and the glitters are fun, but I wish the Warm Me Up shade was a little bit deeper. The blushes, I think, look very different from one another. The formula over the years of these have changed, but they're still a beautiful formula, hence why I continue to still buy them, even though I have some complaints. Like, I just wish the cream had a little bit more pigment and was a little less shiny and Vaseline-y. However, it's still a good formula to keep me coming back. I think the blush shades in particular are the standouts for these holiday sets. I think they are gorgeous rosy pinky berry blushes. For me, it was a worthwhile purchase. I don't regret them at all. I think they are beautiful. I don't think perfect, but they are very beautiful. I'm glad that I ended up picking those up. I also picked up one of the Huda Beauty blush filter palettes. I ended up going with the shade Roseberry because I just feel like it has the prettiest berry rosy tones for the holidays. And this one is interesting because it has like this one blush lighter shade and then 3 flat powders. I don't think there's anything crazy unique about this blush palette. I think it's very beautiful. It's quite pigmented, and I believe the other 2 shades are as well. So they're going to work across a wide range of skin tones. And these are a nice formula. They're very easy to apply. They're a little bit too pigmented, I would say, if you're on the fair side. So you have to be very, very light-handed, but they're very, very easy to use. Today, since I already had such a strong cheek, I only went ahead with the blush lighter to just show you. I don't love the way the blush lighter looks on my cheeks. I think it emphasizes texture a little bit and just, it's not smooth enough for me to really top my blush, in my opinion, but it's still pretty and it does add a nice glow. It's just not my go-to for a blush topper style situation. But it's a pretty blush palette. It's a smoothing powder. It does leave the skin looking pretty airbrushed, but I don't think it's an extraordinary formula, if that makes sense. It's a solid powder blush quad, but I felt like the way I saw people talking about this was like it was an amazing standout powder formula, and I just don't feel that way, but it's very, very nice. And I am interested in the other pink palette. Now, if you ask me, the formulas for powder blushes that do stand out, that I think kind of hold their own in a world of so many powder blushes. The first one is going to be this one from Glossier. It's the Cloud Paint Plush Blush. I got mine in the shade Gale. Still trying to decide, is this a powder or is this a cream? It feels like a powder, but it has creamish tendencies, kind of K-beauty inspired. I really love this peachy shade. Super duper blurring, very, very thin on the cheeks. Like it almost feels like you're applying nothing. Really, really unique. Can't quite figure it out, but it is gorgeous. I see why so many of you guys recommended that I tried this out. This was purchased based on a recommendation, or a few recommendations, I should say, from you guys. The packaging feels a little cheap for some reason, but the product inside, very nice, very different for what is out there. As well as this one from Ilia. This is a second shade that I ended up purchasing. So I loved the first shade that I picked up so much in Glimpse, that I picked up the Ilia Soft Focus Blurring Blush in the shade Breathless. So the other one that I had was a little bit more pinky. I like this one because it's a little bit more peachy. It's a beautiful soft blush, very similar or reminiscent of the Hourglass formula. It has a little bit more of a creamy sensation to it. Really beautiful, not flat on the cheek. Gives this nice satiny, not shimmery, but glowy finish to the cheek. Applies very air-like on the cheek as well. Just like rolls over without catching on foundation. No patchiness in sight with this. A really gorgeous blush that does have a little bit of a glow without emphasizing any texture. Kind of the opposite of how I feel the Huda Beauty. This one did it the right way, if you ask me. I also picked up on a whim the Dior Backstage Glow Maximizer limited edition palette in the Frosted Opal Glow. Clearly it's a holiday palette, so I knew it was going to be a little bit more fun, but I actually was very disappointed with this. I feel like the swatches, if you can see, are very, very weak. And then not only that, this shade does have glitter, which I will accept. It is a holiday palette, that's fine, but it's a weak palette for how expensive it is. I have a lot of experience with the Dior highlight formulations, and something is different and off about this color. And it's an interesting color story. It's more cool toned than I normally go for highlighters, so it's been a little difficult to make this work in my makeup routine this past week in a time where I have a lot of warm options available for the fall. But I've been using, I would say, mostly this pink one, which is fine. It adds a nice glow. I used it today, but I don't love this. I don't think this one is worth it. You're better off getting other colors. The formulation of this one feels different from the other ones. So that sums it up for the face. Let's get into the eyes. Of course, you know, I picked up not one, but two of a restock of my Rare Beauty Flexible Lifting Brow Gel, the best brow gel on the market. I always like to stock up on these during the Sephora savings event because I know eventually I'm going to go through them. So had to get these, my staple. Quickly getting through that. Then I picked up two eyeshadow palettes. How fun, it's been a while. So we have the ABH Embers palette. This I think is really beautiful and mature from ABH here. There's like maybe one or two shimmers, but most of them are satins. Really beautiful, blendable, easy to use formulation. It's gonna give you these beautiful, like sultry, a little bit warm, a little bit cozy kind of smoky eye. I've loved the looks that I've gotten with this. It's like old school formulation, like pigmented, a little bit of fallout, but really, really creamy and soft. And if you like those type of formulations, I think you will enjoy this. It's just like pure butter, baby. And I've had a lot of fun with this. This has been a very fun, as boring as it looks, a very fun fall palette. I highly, highly recommend it if you're into these tones. If you don't need the glitters, because glitters are in right now. I like that this is more of a satiny kind of palette, and I love this direction from ABH. I hope they continue to go this little bit more of a mature route, if you know what I'm saying. I also treated myself to a new Tom Ford quad. It had been a while. I went through a phase. You know, I've loved my Tom Ford palettes in the past, and this one, I saw the color store and it knocked my socks off. The Olive Smoke quad. I have mixed feelings about this because it is very, very gorgeous, But today I only used this shade, and I also used the black, but I used the khaki shade, and it's like over blended for some reason, which I don't mind for Tom Ford for more of a chic look. But it's like, did it over blend? Or is it just really effortless to blend, you know? Because I can pack this on and get more pigment. But I do feel that this has a tendency to overblend. I've done like 3 looks with this now, and I have felt it's looked a little softer than I intended. It's very easy to go back in and rebuild the color. But for some reason, it does kind of blend away, which for a $90 eyeshadow palette, I'm like, I don't know. It's not my favorite Tom Ford palette ever. It is gorgeous. I'm still liking it. I don't regret the purchase. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, this is just like the ultimate fall color story for me. But you'll notice I packed on some of the green, and look how light of a color I ended up with, which I don't mind. I think it looks good with what I'm wearing today, but interesting. I like it. I don't love it. So I think the proof is in the pudding from what I showed you with the demo. But that's not going to stop me from continuing to wear this, because it still is beautiful. In my initial haul, I believe this is the palette that I wore. That look was also beautiful, but it was very faded looking. Was really excited to pick these up from Merit. They're solo shadows, but these are these solo shadow sheens. Now, don't go to Merit expecting a lot of pigment or impact on the eyes. That's just not the style of the brand. So I picked up Glaze, which is all over my eyelid today. Really pretty soft glow is all over my eyelid because of that. And then for something a little deeper, but it's still not too deep because it's that Merit style, I picked up the shade Iris as well. I'm really liking these. I think they look really pretty for like one and done eyeshadow looks, just to throw on to get something on the eyelid. I do find, like for example, today I didn't put a primer down and I have no powder down, so it did kind of follow the creases since I didn't set the concealer. This has worn better when I've had a little bit of powder underneath or over top. So I wouldn't say it's horrible in wear, but if you have oily eyelids, you might want to prep the eyelid for these. I will say that. They're matte solo shadows. I don't have any creasing problems with. I imagine if those are underneath that these probably would be fine, but if you have a base unset, like I just used the concealer today, I think that's kind of asking for trouble for these. But overall, I'm really, really enjoying these. They're definitely more soft than I normally prefer, and if it was 2020, I would hate these. When I was doing like those crazy eye looks, I would have hated these. But now for just quick, simple, glowy finishes to the eye, one and done, pat it on and go. Really am enjoying that. Then you know I'm loving the Color Fix sticks from Danessa Myricks. This was a second color that I decided to purchase. Of course, the packaging, stunning. I decided to go with Duo 6, which I actually do think I like better than Duo 4. I mean, this is going to give you that glitter finish if you want a little bit more impact. The metallic shade in here, since it's a little bit more lighter and more taupey than the first shade that I picked up, I noticed it's a little bit easier to work out if I wanted to blend. It still sets down a little bit too quickly for my preferences. I wish it just lasted a little bit more creamy on the eye for a little bit longer so I could play with it a little bit more. But it's so stunning, I don't even care. I think these are still 100% worth it. They're gorgeous. They're so easy to use. They are mess-free. If you cannot stand any fallout, you're not going to get any with these. And I still highly, 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 highly recommend this product. In love. In fact, the foil shade, incredible. And they have this cooling wet sensation on the eyelid, which is amazing. Okay, I picked up 2 lip liners. The first one I was intrigued by from Sephora collection. This is the transfer proof lip liner in the shade Perfect Beige. The name caught my attention. The fact that it is a sharpenable pencil caught my attention because I am a fan of the Sephora collection lip liners in general. This does not set down as well as I thought it was going to. It also takes a while to set down. So you actually have a lot of time to smudge it. It does eventually set down, but they claim that it's like a transfer-proof lip liner. I really don't think that it is. It doesn't really set down that well. It's a little soft, if I'm being honest, but I do really like the application on this. It feels really smooth. I love this color. However, the claims of it being super long lasting is simply not true, and they claim it. So it better, they better put their money where their mouth is, and they didn't. So that's why I can't recommend it. but it still is a pretty color. And then I also added a new color of the Mary Phillips lip liner to my collection because I purchased one before the sale. I was like, okay, I want to add another one. So this is the Overliner lip pencil. The shade that I ended up with is Bittersweet, which was a bit deeper than I originally wanted. I don't like a dark brown lip liner on myself, even if I'm going to try to make it work for the fall time. That said, I do like these because they are like a nice, easy, smudgy lip liner that does have that kind of contoury undertone to it. This will not set down, but they don't claim that it will. So, you know, it's not like the Sephora collection. These are nice, workable. I like them as a background lip liner. If I need something more long-lasting, I have other options that I'll go to. I think I'm set, though. I don't want to buy another color. I've done my part in supporting this lip liner. It's a good lip liner, but just know it's meant to almost be like a contour and be smudged out and flexible in that way, so it's not going to set down, which is not a bad thing. You just need to know what you're working with, that you're going to need to reapply that. But I mean, I like the range and I like the colors. And then the last product that we have is from Summer Fridays. It's that set that I needed to have, the Holiday Trio, which comes with the Jet Lag Mask, which is really beautiful. I mean, all of these formulas I'm already familiar with. I just really wanted to pick it up for the 2 limited edition Holiday Butter Lip Balm flavors that I had to have. Toasted Marshmallow and Hot Cocoa. And both of which smell and kind of taste how they sound. So the Toasted Marshmallow has kind of a nice iridescence to it, so it does give a little something that's different than clear. I will admit, sometimes I find that these Summer Friday lip balms do pull a little bit more sheer, but they're so hydrating on my lips. I don't care. My lips love these. I know some people have mixed thoughts on this. My lips love these sitting on them. It just like solves my dry winter lips immediately. So strangely beautiful iridescence to it that gives it a little oomph in the marshmallow and just smells really creamy and sweet. I'm wearing Hot Cocoa today. Now this one actually does give a little bit of color. And it does make me crave a nice hot chocolate. Like, how pretty is this for the fall? So I'm into this set. I'm so happy I picked this set up. If you are a fan of this formula, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by the mask as well, get these holiday flavors. They are yummy, yummy, delicious. So love that as well. And there we have it, you guys. Those were 19 of the products that I picked up during the Sephora savings event, and my final thoughts on them. I know we got it out quickly, but 'tis the season. These are going to enter my general population. As always, I'll have all of the products that I talked about linked down below, as well as tagged in YouTube shopping. If you picked any of these up, let me know your thoughts on them. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I think we'll finish it up there. This closes out the Sephora savings event. I think tomorrow I have an update on my second trimester, so taking a break from the makeup tomorrow, and I will see you guys in the next video. So bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.